keeping your homepage up to date, trying to avoid the sort of very, very long homepage that you scroll and scroll forever on. But if you have any questions whilst I'm going along, if you can message them to James, and then if it's relevant at the time, then he will ask me. After the 30 minutes or so, we'll be open for any specific issues that you'd like to know, which can be anything at all to do with the template. But please note, I can't do anything with the DMS. Right? That's not my pigeon at all. Okay, and also if I was to log into the DMS, it would breach the confidentiality of the members and things like that. So that's why I won't be touching on that. Okay.
Chris, can I just jump in?
Yes.
Just remind everyone of Paul's rule, where if you are home alone, please private message me with an emergency contact. This is just due to something that unfortunately happened to one of the Rotarians in the district. So if you are home alone, please message me with an emergency contact. Thank you.
Right. Okay, this is a template login page rather than the RIBI login page, just it's quicker for me. Right, I have to keep moving this membership bar around. Okay, I'm going to be changing this shortly. This is the members area. Whilst it was appreciated the sort of clear buttons on things to do, I generally don't like the layout of it, so I'm going to be changing that shortly. But for the benefit of those who don't know, on the right of the screen here, if you are a club administrator, that will show. That doesn't show for members. So if you're not a club admin, that won't show. Similarly, if you're not a district admin, that won't show, or a super admin, which is only Tom and myself, that won't display either. So for the most part, you'll want to go to the club admin area. Oh, this is where things go very slow.
While that's loading, could you remind everyone how to reach the members area?
Well, you either log in via the RIBI page. I'll try turning my video off and see if that makes any difference. It did in one session. This is taking forever.
Everyone's aware of the gremlins. So.
Well, somebody said on the webmasters list this morning, is the website slow? And I said, well, it's fine for me, it's working fine. So I don't know if it's a Zoom thing or the site.
A Welsh internet thing, I think.
I'm trying to have my home page open as well as the club admin area. Right, okay, that's eventually opened into the club admin area. Okay, I'll wait for the home page to load. That's taking its time. Okay, that's the club home page, which quite a lot of our clubs are still using that, and you would log in by going, oh, sorry, it's not displaying because I'm already logged in, of course. If you use this method, it'll say members login club, and you click that and it goes to the RIBI site. You log in there and then it comes back to the to the members homepage. So I'm looking at the homepage really. As I scroll down, these buttons here are only shown if you're logged in, right? And it's a good way, especially when you want to update a specific page, is to log in first and then also to open your club homepage and navigate through to any specific page you want to update. And you can just click that button and you're straight there at the update appropriate page, and it just makes life a little bit quicker. So I wanted to show some of the features here of the homepage. Obviously, you've got your free text area that you can put anything you want in there. Now, I say unfortunately, there are some clubs that have got reams and reams and reams and reams of stuff that they've added in here, rather than using the features that are actually built into the template. And those are designed to keep your homepage up to date and current. So you won't get, as I looked at this morning of one of the clubs, our club will be going in January 2018 to do XYZ. Well, it's a really bad advert for your club if you're posting things that you're going to be doing 2 years ago. So using the features that are built into the template, events, meetings and things will display if they're happening shortly, but they won't display if they've already passed, unless you decide to make a particular page a featured page, and then it will show at the top either as the carousel or as the thumbnails. So you've got choice over what you display. And it also makes it a lot easier to do, rather than having to go in and resize images and embed them into the home page. You can just tick a button and say display that. So it makes life a bit easier. So as well as the feature pages, which I mentioned, I'll come back to later, you've also got the meetings and events, and it will only show the ones that are happening shortly in the next 30 days or so. I just had those in a previous training session. Likewise, you can embed links to the social media, and I'll show you how to do that later if you wish, if you haven't managed to do it yourself. I noticed some people had just got a short line of text, which was a link to their Facebook page, rather than the embedded feed from either, you can have Twitter or Facebook within there. And likewise, that's stuff that's automatically displayed for everybody from our RIBI. And then at the bottom, I don't know why that is. We've got the dynamic map based on your coordinates, providing you've done them, which I think everybody has. Okay, now that's not too much scrolling, but of course you have to remember that about 50% of the viewings of your website will be made on a mobile phone. So whilst that scrolls a bit, it'll be a lot more scrolling on a mobile phone. So it's even more important that you try to avoid a very long screen in here, because when somebody's on the phone, they'll be scrolling forever and eventually they'll just give up. So your effort has been wasted. So I'm going to come back to the admin area. And one of the most important things you can find is help. All right. Now, if you're not on the list already, I really suggest you go, first port of call is the RIBI Webmasters group. And that's got hundreds of members, that are all sorts of skill levels, from absolute beginners or who don't really know anything at all about website, but they volunteered or been volunteered to be the club admin, through to people who run their own web design services and do all sorts of things and are far more technically competent. So it's got, and literally everybody in between those two extremes. So if anybody has a problem, they can just say, oh, how do I do such and such? And you'll get an answer usually very quickly. It will also cover topics that aren't available on the template. Like one that came up recently was, has anybody used these card readers to take card payments at events? And so there was a whole discussion about that and which card reader was the best, the charges and everything else. And things like using Jot form to embed forms on a page, which you can then link to your PayPal account. How to set up a PayPal account, all sorts of things, both template and non-template related. So if you aren't a member, if you go to the help menu, first port of call, and then just put your email address in there and subscribe, you'll be asked, you may be asked to confirm that you're a Rotarian by Dave Wheatley, who runs the site, but maybe not. But that is really the first port of call, and it is absolutely excellent. Occasionally, you might get a lot of emails in a day. That's usually when I'm working on redesigning something. I want people to test it, and they come back and say, oh, that's no good, or whatever. Most of the time, it might be sort of 5 or 6 messages a day. So like the old Yahoo group, if you were on that, you've got the choice by going to groups.io, which is there. You can sign in and you can choose whether to have a daily digest of messages. So that's one email with everything from one day, individual emails, which I prefer. Or you say, well, no emails, I'll just log in and I'll read things on the Groups.io website. Okay. So you've got some control over how many email messages you get. Okay, so that's the first, and that's, I think, by far the best port of call for support. You've then got the tutorials. Okay. And notice I've gone out of the admin area here, and I've got various tutorial topics. That's right. And you can search for topics. So if I want to do something with video, I can just type in video there, and then up will come a list of pages where video is mentioned. And I could go through and check it, check to see, like, oh, well, that's the one I want. And there we are. There's instructions about how to make your videos responsive. All that means is that they will shrink and expand to suit the width of the device that you're looking at. So if you're viewing it on a phone, it won't be, the right-hand side of the video won't be chopped off. It will shrink to suit the phone's display width. Okay, so you've got the tutorials there, and they cover a variety of different areas. So club administrators, there's loads of help in there. And one of the, sorry, should we say the 2 most common things that come up are, how do we make somebody else a club administrator instead of it just being me? Well, it's all there, how to do it. And then perhaps the second most common question is, I've got this display on my site which says, we've paid our bill, but it's not happening. Well, again, there's the steps on how to solve that particular problem, which I'll come back to shortly. All right, I'll flip back to my Club Admin website. Right, okay. Sorry, my throat's giving out here. Right, what I'm going to do is just liven up the top first of all. We've got a set of default pictures at the top of the screen displaying in a carousel. And you may decide, well, I don't want that. I want to do my own pictures. And you can do that very easily. If I go to my what we do pages, for example, I can say, right, well, I'd like that international activities. I'd like that to be on the home page. So I can go and update that. And I say, right, I'm going to make this a featured page. So I choose featured, yes. And then scroll down and update that page. And now, remember, I'm looking at the old page here. If I refresh that, I've now got my own image there. And if I can have up to 6 images from my featured pages, so 6 featured pages, and they will scroll through just like the other carousel. If you have more than 6 featured pages, then it will randomly select 6. So you get a different 6 displayed each time your page is opened. And likewise, if you've got more than 1 featured page, it will order them randomly. So each time the page opens, the images will be in a different order, unless you've only got the one image displayed. If you decide you don't want to have the large carousel at the top of the page, I'll just go back here. And I'll go to Homepage and Options. This menu, by the way, is available on every page, and it's the same as all these options here. Right? So I go to Homepage and Options, and it's exactly the same as if I've used the menu here, and then the rest of the pages are in there. Homepage and Options, and I've got here Homepage Display Options, and I can choose here whether to have the carousel or the thumbnails, and I'll just choose thumbnails for the moment. Update the page. Again, if I refresh now, the display has changed, and instead of the carousel, I've got my featured page. This works if you've got 3 or 6. One on its own looks a bit odd with all this space at the side. So you can choose whichever pages you want. So if you have had some great big fundraising event that's been absolutely fantastic, you can make that a featured page without having to embed a picture in the body of the page and say, we did this and raised £20,000 or something. And then when the event, 6 months on, you can say, well, I no longer want that on the homepage, and it doesn't get forgotten about. It's perhaps a little bit easy to manage. So using your featured pages and using the happening soon, your meetings online, are just 2 ways of keeping that homepage up to date. I'll go through and just show some about how to add the meetings. I'll choose that. I'll get rid of these.
Ian Henderson asks, can you move the soon section of the homepage to higher on the page.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Ian Henderson asks, can you move the happening soon section of the homepage to higher on the page?
No, I'm afraid you can't. Right. Now you've got several choices on how to add your meetings. Add one meeting, which is self-explanatory. You could add several meetings or multiple recurring meetings. Now, that one's more complicated. If you have first Monday of the month, we have a speaker. Second Monday of the month, we have a committee evening. Third Monday of the month, we do something else. Fourth Monday of the month, we do a quiz. And fifth Monday, if there is one, we go and have a curry. If you have that sort of recurring pattern of events, then that's the one to choose. I believe there's a bit of a bug in it at the moment, and you need to add the meetings first, and then you can also add your council meetings and things. You need to add those separately until that bug is fixed. But that will generate your whole year's time diary for your program if you want to do, if you follow that sort of pattern. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. If you don't have a regular pattern, you just want to add several meetings. This is where I'll just choose that and make it easier. And again, I'll do my mode. How often are your meetings? Well, these are weekly. Your first meeting, is going to be 29th at 1900. It's going to be 1 hour, and I'm going to add 6 meetings. Generate meetings, and then that's put all the dates and things in, and you can modify this on a per meeting basis, so you can change the titles, etc., etc. I'll not bother. They haven't been added yet until you choose add meetings. And now you can see there in my list of future meetings are all those meetings I've just added. Similarly, on the home page, if I refresh, it's all there automatically without you having to do anything. And likewise, if I go to view meetings and events, they're all in there. Likewise, because I'm logged in, this admin edit and duplicate button are displayed. So if I wanted to just quickly update that meeting, I can go straight to it and then change. And you can see there, that's updated, that particular meeting. Okay. Likewise, with events and things, if we go to future events, events are slightly different. I regard anything with a date that is not a regular meeting is an event. Now that might be a committee meeting, a council meeting, a fundraising event, a trip out somewhere else. If it's not a regular weekly, fortnightly, whatever meeting, it's an event. And events are slightly different in that they can be displayed on the district website as well as your own website. So first of all, we'd need to choose a time and date. So I'll go for the 8th of July at 12 o'clock. It's automatically put in an hour later. We'll just leave that. And this is, again, I'll give it that title and some stuff here. And then because it's an event, I've got the option to display it on the district site or not. The reason why I did this, generally, you don't want the meetings aren't relevant to go on the district site. So if you had a council meeting, those come up as events. Don't try and display it on the district site because nobody else is interested, to be honest, in your council meeting, your club council meeting. So it's really only for events that are of interest more widely across the district. So I'll tick yes there and then add the page. And then I shall go to the district website. And scroll down and I should see somewhere. There it is, test, please ignore. So you're giving your event wider publicity for very little effort, okay? If you put something up there that isn't relevant, the district administrator can override it and say, we don't want this on the district website, and untick that button, but it will still be displayed on your own website. I should cut that. And likewise, charter events, charter celebrations is a different type of page. And if you add a charter celebration and put the date in, again, that is automatically displayed on the district site on the charter celebrations page. Okay, right, I was speaking about meetings and events. If you've enabled it, well, unless, I should say, unless you've disabled it because it's enabled by default, once you've got some meetings in your program, then members, if they're not able to attend, can submit apologies. And you can see there, I've got a list of forthcoming events. And they can say, right, well, I can't come to that one, can't come to that one. They can write a message if something's necessary. Choose who they're sending it to. Now you can, as the club admin, put an email address in. It might be the where you meet, it might be the venue, or it might be a designated person to receive such apologies. Well, I haven't put one in, which is why it says that. No designated recipient. So I can choose who I'm going to send it to and then send in the apologies. And they will receive something saying, Chris Sweeney says he's unable to attend Monday 29th of June and Wednesday 8th of July, and give the meeting details along with any message if I wrote one. So I'll go back to the club admin area and show where that's enabled if you haven't done it yet. Sorry. Oh, no, it's not on the home page, but it is an option. So if you go to homepage display options, where we were before, you can choose whether on your public pages to display the club officers, etc. And further down, we've got in the members area, display apologies, yes or no. And you can put a brief message in there to help. I'm starting to croak. Okay. Well, I've gone over 30 minutes now. So perhaps I'll have a break in speaking, which would be a good idea, and address any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you, Chris. No questions at the moment.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, hopefully somebody will come up with something.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions about any particular functionality or problem that they've had, then please feel free to throw it in the chat. Now is a good time.
Oh, I said I'd show about how to do the Facebook link. I'll do that now as I'm on that page. So if you go to the social network badges, it's on the homepage display. And the links are here for you. So if I want to go to Facebook, click that link, it will open up in a new tab. And you need to put your Facebook URL in. What's yours, James? Do you know? And
you could just put Rotary 1180.
I've already got that one.
I don't know what mine is, because it's Llanfairpwllgwyngyllgogerychwr and Pemawr, so it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll put that. Press enter, and then up pops your what the feed is. I click get code. Now all that code from there to there needs to be inserted, except that middle bit. So rather than copying that, flipping back to the other page, pasting it in, come back, I copy the whole lot and then just delete that middle bit. So I'm dragging across, Control C to copy, or Command C on the Mac, back to my Facebook plugin there, click in there, Control V to paste, and then just delete that line, which we don't need. Add plugin, and now you'll see, scroll down, I've now got 3 feeds, as previously I had 2. Unfortunately, one is the same one, and likewise on our home page, we've now got the 3 feeds. If you make a mistake or decide you don't want that one on, just go back and delete plugin. And then back to the 2 that I really want.
Okay, so yeah, you could. So there's 2 questions, which is basically, can you copy and paste into the body of a new page? Right.
Okay. I'll come back to that. Remind me of that in a minute. I'll just do, whilst I'm here, the Twitter one, the Twitter feed. If you go to that is important, right? Set your height. If we go to Twitter, no, I've not got a Twitter thing.
Rotary 1180.
Right. You do need to set these customization options. If you don't, you'll end up with an enormously long feed on your home page. So you need to set that, and somewhere within here. Mind you,
okay.
I'm sorry, they've changed this since I last looked, so I'm not familiar with it. There used to be a thing where you could just set the height. I'd need to play with that a bit more, which I won't do. Okay. Right, so addressing your problem of pasting into a page. If I go to one of my What We Do pages, and I'll I'll update that one, which I know is inactive, so it won't make any difference. Right. If I've done something in Word, I'll just do something here quickly in Word. And I'll copy this. Oh, I didn't give you the address for this. Right, I can come back to that. I've copied that in Word. Go back to my there. And I can just click Control V. And it's in. Now, there is a problem copying from Word in that if we switch to code view, you can see all this extra guff that's been put in here, right? None of which is necessary on the template. Right? And if you've got a much longer document, you can have so much of this duff code in place that it can actually stop you being able to update the page. Right? So rather than pasting straight from Word, undo that. What I do is open Notepad, and on a Mac, I can't remember the name, but there is a plain text editor. So I paste it into there and then copy it again, Control A, Control C, flip back to my page and Control V there. And that way, if we go and look at the code now, it's much cleaner code. It hasn't got all that extra guff in from Microsoft, courtesy of Microsoft. So you have to use the keyboard shortcuts. So that there isn't a little button on here to do it. So it's Control or Command V to paste. Okay. Now, whilst we're there, now I've renamed this to make it easier for people, RIBIT1, right? And if you go to that address, make a note of it, my website, 121technology.com/ribbit1.zip. And that is a series of exercises. It's got all the it's got images and everything for you to try about adding pages, adding the main picture to a page and creating a slideshow. I've used it successfully with a few other districts and individuals. If you'd done the previous URL, which was that if you've already opened it, it's the same document. So if you've already done it, there's not much point in doing it again unless you want a refresher. So it's /ribbit, RIBIT.
I've put it in the Zoom chat.
Great, okay.
While you're in the text editor,
Yeah.
could you show how to add an image?
Right, well, the best way of doing your images is not to put them in the page. It's to use the main pick and to use the slideshow. But if you've got a small image, like that one hit there, and you want it to be at the side of the text, then fair enough. But if you don't really want to have large images and several large images on the page, use the slideshow features for that. It's much easier. So if I want to embed a picture there, I can open my file manager, and then you can alter the view of the file manager so you can see thumbnails and things. And I'll choose that one. Insert. At the moment, you see that's knocked all the text down. So I want the text to wrap around this. So I'll select that image. And then from the side here, choose pull left. You see the text will now flow around the image. And I would need to update that for it to be kept. Or I can choose, click, select, take that off, pull it right, or have it in the center.
It is a bit of a nightmare, position it correctly. Yeah, with a larger image.
So as I say, for larger images, you really want to be using the slideshow features, which are built in. Makes life so much easier.
So it's also worth reminding people about copyright. And someone did mention, can you embed videos?
Right, you can embed videos.
YouTube and things, yep.
Right. Speaking of copyright, just because it's on the internet does not mean you can copy it.
Mm-hmm.
As a general rule, I'd say if you've taken the photo or one of your club members has, and they say, oh, stick that on the website, they've given you've got the copyright, and the club members got the copyright. You can display those, no problem. Images that you get off Rotary.org in their brand center, there's an image library. You can use those images, likewise the RIBI ones. But if you happen to see a picture on Facebook and think, oh, that'll make a good picture, it doesn't mean to say that you can automatically have it. And there were a couple of clubs last year, which is what brought all this to the fore. They'd had a speaker, they wanted a photo of the speaker, they looked on the internet, found a picture of him and stuck it on. And then the people who owned the copyright for the picture then sued them. So to avoid that, I would suggest you only use either your own photos or ones that you've taken from Rotary.org or RIBI, or just to ask if it's Shelterbox or wherever. They're generally more than happy for you to use their images. If you ask them, can I use it? You're more than happy to say yes.
Yeah, and further to that, it is a real problem because there are companies set up with the whole purpose of finding people using copyrighted images and to sue them to get money. So don't just think, oh, no one visits my website, I'll be okay. Because that's what the couple of clubs probably thought, or a harmless mistake. But they did get caught out. And the same goes for using audio in videos. You have to make sure it's royalty-free audio. Usually it's automatically muted on Facebook or on YouTube. You're ineligible to actually claim money off it anyway. It's copyright. They're quite good on that platform.
Right, I'll do the video now. I think that one, I have the video, right. Okay, I'll play it out.
Little boxes
Right.
on the hillside.
When you've got your
Boxes made of ticky-tacky little boxes on the hillside.
Right. When you found your video and you go to share, and it's that embed code, the embed is what you want. Now, if I copy all that, Control C, and then I go back to the page that I want to put it on. Control V. No, sorry, that's got the old text. That's better. Right. What this will do, it will put in the video 560 wide at a height of 315 pixels. Now, the trouble is 560 wide is too wide for a phone. So it will, the right-hand side of the video will disappear off the screen. So what we need to do is to make it what's called responsive, so it shrinks and expands to suit the width of the video. Now this is where the tutorial page comes in again. So if I flip back to that one. The instructions here, we copy that and note that this particular part of the code is the only bit that's needed. Right, so I'll copy that, go back to the page I want. I'll leave the Google supplied code in place until we're finished. Control V. And then all I need to do is replace that bit of code there with that. Okay, so I copy that, Control C, Control V. Right. And all that bit afterwards means is when it gets to the end of the video, don't start playing another one. That's the related equals 0. And now I come out of code view. That one is showing that the full size, and these other two are the responsive versions. I'll update that page and I'll preview it. I'll look at it on the live site and you can see that's the original responsive version. That's the Google supplied code, and that's the one I've just put in. And if I shrink my screen and take it in as if it was a phone, you can see that the Google one disappears off the side of off the right-hand side of the screen, whereas the responsive versions that I got will shrink as the screen size shrinks. Okay.
So we have a question from Thomas Williams. Is there a way to change the language on the website, mainly Welsh?
You'd have to type it in Welsh. But all the menus and things, I'm afraid, are in English.
Could that be something in the future?
I doubt it, to be honest. I have the other site I do, the international version of the site. Actually, I may as well show you that. I'll just log in. I was saying earlier about the home page. I probably want to change it something more like this, so it's just a bit cleaner and tidier. Likewise, the members area. Will be something like that, rather than that. But that's for the future. I lost it again. Sorry. That version caters for 5 languages, but one of them isn't Welsh.
No.
But that. I mean, that in itself was quite a task to trying to do the RIBI template to cater for Welsh. I'm afraid couldn't be done.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, we have 2,000 Rotarians in Wales versus 30,000 in England. We're a bit dwarfed there. Out of my own, saving me work explaining, Chris, could you show Rotarians how to add people into roles that aren't through the DMS?
Right, certainly. So I'm in club admin. I go to, well, I can either do it this way, club officers, or choose it from here. Club officers takes me to the same point. Right. If I wanted to do next year's officers, 2021, change. Right, you can see I've already put some in line with the DMS. But I want to add more. So I'll add more officers, click the button, and there's a list here of the standard club officers across RIBI and Rotary.org, right? So if your club decides, well, we call our president-elect, he's the vice president, so we're going to put him in as vice president. Well, I'm afraid that doesn't work well. He's the president-elect, which was decided upon across Rotary a few years ago now. And if you start to use different terms for those standard positions that we've got down here, then things like the communication process across the DMS won't work because it looks for president-elect. It doesn't look for vice president.
Yeah, and it is, I can't stress this enough, and it's certainly on behalf of District Secretary Julia. If you are a secretary or a president and you don't want to be inundated with emails, the reason you're receiving them is because you don't have delegated people in positions such as International Foundation, Public Image. So if you don't have those people, you will be sent it as president, because we only have about 20 or so for certain positions. So we have to contact the club somehow. And if your club doesn't have that committee, please just put someone in that role that can be the point of contact. They don't have to be the leader of that in your club, just a delegated person to be the contact. It really, in terms of the district communicating to the clubs, it's very important.
Okay, so you can see from the list there that I haven't put anybody in Public Image, so I'll put myself in, but I'm the secretary as well, so it comes to me anyway. So, okay, so I can go down here and I can list whoever I want to put in these various roles. Okay, and then add officers. Okay, now if I go back, you see that they've been added automatically. Now, it's worth doing this before July the 1st, because come July the 1st, you can't delete them. You can't delete them if it's the current year. Right? That's because of the DMS email forwarding system. It needs to know, right, well, they are the current officer. And if you deleted them and then added somebody in, it doesn't know that the other person's been deleted. So this can only be deleted. You can only delete somebody there. Yes. Sorry, not during the current year. So if I change back now to right, so we're in the current year, and you can see the delete option isn't there. Okay, I can change it, say, right, well, he's no longer president-elect from such and such a date. He was until such and such. It's a lot more complicated to do that. But if you do it in advance, you can make a change before the 1st of July, and it's quite easy. Right, in addition to the standard roles, you can add your own. Okay, so those are the standard roles listed there. And I can say, I'm going to have beer festival organizer, because it's a very important role within our club, and add that post. You can see it appears at the bottom of the list. Now, the delete option is shown if nobody's ever held that post. If somebody has, then you can't delete it. You have to wade back through the person's, a member's membership history and then delete the post. But it's displayed if nobody's held it. So if I go now to club officers, to add more officers, that club specific role will appear in the list. Okay, does that answer the question, James?
Yeah. Someone did say we are coming up to the hour mark, but somebody asked, can you add, historical officers of the past 20, 30 years?
I'm sorry, what
Sorry, can you add, say, past presidents and things of the club?
Well, you don't add past presidents there. That there is a specific thing. Usually, if you're new to the template, we've got the president's list. If you've been using it for the template for 10 years, then those 10 years worth of presidents will already be in the system. But if you're fairly new to the template and they're not there, we've got different methods. If they're already listed as a member, you can choose them. Now this will show all members, past and present. Okay, so I can choose somebody there and choose the year all the way back. And then they will be added as a president for that particular year. If it's somebody who's not listed already, you can add the name in there, first name, surname, year, whether they're deceased or not. And then that creates a new member and marks them as a president. And then they will appear our team. And you've got a page there for past presidents. Without you having to create your own. Okay.
Yeah, so there was one question I did miss from Terry Cordner. He asks, is there a download button facility that bypasses the need to link to the form to view first? So instead of embedding a link to download something in the page, is there a button you can add?
Right, I think I know what you mean. Right, so if I'm on So if I've gone to, if I want that to be a link to a file, is that what it means?
Well, no, it was more so instead of that, is there a button you can?
You can code it if you know what the code is.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do it in the HTML, can't you?
Yes, you'd have to switch to code view and then code a button. I can tell you what the code would be. I think I did that on the Webmasters group a couple of days ago. So
well, that's a good reason to go visit the Webmasters group.
Whilst I'm there, I'll just go over it because it is something that people forget. Type your word in that you want to be the link, and you must click add link. Don't go to the file manager and then say, I want it to be that. It looks like it will work, but it won't. Right? It looks like it's all changed to hyperlink, but what will happen is you'll get an error message. It won't find it because it's not put the right code in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll undo that. You must do add link, then go to the file manager, then choose it, select. Okay.
I'm glad you said that because that's a very common mistake people do.
It is a common mistake. It is in the tutorials, but you know, it's an easy mistake to make because it does not like it. So you've got to click add link. Okay.
Okay, we're 5 minutes over, so I think certainly on behalf of everyone here, I'd say thank you, Chris, for this. I think everyone's found it very useful from looking at a lot of notes being taken. Remind everyone that this has been recorded and will be circulated. It will be on our YouTube channel in the training section of the district website.
Can I just add that during the lockdown and things, I've used the Webmasters group to say, right, anybody, any problems or need to know something, I'm on Zoom at 2 o'clock on such and such a day. And so we've had quite a few sessions there, but I only announce it on the Webmasters group.